Over the back, Salmon. Down to Neil Clark again. He kicks high. Cordy tries to fist the ball but misses. It's all Essendon as the ball hits the ground. Clark, oh, good tackle. Down the ground, no fear or favour there. Off the ground, Holden not good enough. Picked up by Izzard. Dinky little kick to Hawker, who seems to have his own paddock to play in today. Glenn Hawker has been omnipresent on the Essendon half-forward line. His 18th possession, and has played a very valuable game. Hawker, 6 kicks at goal. Here he goes again. It's the opening. It's through.
Bill Murray and the Gloombusters, coming soon on 10.
To Hawker, standing in space.
Yes, Izzard took a courageous mark back at centre-half back, followed the play right down, and he uses the ball very well.
Final term with Essendon kicking against the breeze, although it's ever so slight now. They've kicked 4 to the Swans 3, and they lead 94 to 66. I don't think the Swans can get back. And here's the little fellow who did it last time. Full of running. 40 metres out. Pings and drops it through. That's his first goal. So his second goal. The little fellows are really blistering with pace today. He's had 14 kicks. Stephen Clark's kicked 4 goals. Darren Williams is the one who hasn't scored, and now Izzard's kicked his second. Here it is again. Plenty of balance there, running flat out. Did look good.
23 minutes gone, and the Bombers have reached their 100. They lead by 34 points. The test of the Swans' character to see if they can come back from here. Bailey gives it to Baker. Baker sends Essendon forward once again to Hawker. But here's Toohey with a bit of pace out there to clear out for the Swans. And the mark taken by Murphy just before he's tumbled over by Izzard. A little bit of biffing around the face. Stephen Wright for the Swans. Offloads it inside. Back to Holden. Line very close out there. But he gets it towards half forward. Ball hits the turf again. Williams off the carpet. Danaher. And Essendon win the ball. Neil Clark. Hamilton following up. Vander Haar the fly. Can't mark him backhand, Vander. Free kick to the Dutchman.
Oh, Rod Carter's, he plays it fairly tough, but I think he plays it fairly most of the time. Maybe an outstretched hand across Vander's throat at that stage. Anyway, Vander Haar's having his 6th kick. Kicked 2 goals in a wonderful third term, Vander Haar. And that's a lovely kick for his 3rd goal. And the Bombers go to 106, leading the Swans by 40 points. 25-minute mark in this final term.
Here's the replay again. Hamilton driving the ball up towards Vander Haar. He tried to mark it backhand, Vander. Can't do that. Oh, it's difficult. But Carter was all over him like a rash. There's merit in the Essendon team. Ironmonger gets the hand of the ball. Kevin Walsh caught. Disposes. And Essendon running out. They go trouble again. Danaher towards Vander Haar. More interference. Another free kick. Another goal coming up. He's doing his block. You think the umpire can hear him? Do you reckon that was a mouthful? Oh, a cheerful little earful. Vander Haar, whoops. Not today, Vander. Are behind. limping rather perceptibly.
Poor old Rod Carter lost his cool end, and now he's going to chase Roger Merritt. They're going to rub shoulder to shoulder. Big Ironmonger boots the ball back into play. Giant Salmon gets up. Backhanded by Williams, looking for Terry. Sneaking through was Neil Clark. Oh, there's Vander again, and loops the handball across to Izzard. Left foot this time. 47-point lead to the Bombers. Third goal to little Alan Izzard. Quick as a wink onto his left boot, and it's shut the gate.
A lot of handball there. Knock-ons, tap-ons, bash-ons, biff-ons. Finally, a little kick, and Izzard receiving from Van der Haar, and a dribbler along the cup. And Merritt tried very hard to get out of the way and was successful. Well, it's all Essendon, and there goes Williams to send them forward again. Wild kick in the pack gives Baker possession. He's grabbed without the ball. Play's allowed to go on. Carroll folds for Essendon. Dispossessed. Carroll puts head down. Picked up by Healy. Runs into his own man. Bay's out wide for the Sydney Swans. Kicks the ball high in the air and out on the fall. And Kappa does his nut. Says, why don't you kick it infield? To which the reply was, son, you weren't under as much pressure as I was trying to get that kick. 27.5 minutes gone, and it's all over bar for shouting. Essendon 113 have raced away from the Swans. 9-12-66. The Swans with the breeze have stopped to a walk.
Out to Williams, and then on to the fullback, Winton. Nice stretching mark by Terry through. He played well since he came on. Greg Williams is just not his old self today for the Swans.
He was reported for striking Baker in the first term. Since then, he hasn't been worth another blue.
Absolutely. Big Ironmonger battling out. By gee, the Bombers are lucky with Merritt and Salmon to switch into the ruck, and Danaher and Van der Haar on the forward line. It's looked a pretty strong combo today. And a 47-point lead, almost at siren time to end the match, will go down as one of their best wins. And this year's competition with the Swans on top and looking very, very competitive and very strong. It's a good win for the Bombers today. Ironmonger beats Merritt. Thripp gets it out. Stealing it is Hamilton. A long one over the top to Neil Clark, and Hawker runs on. Hawker kicked 2 goals in this final term. Bombers have got more fight, more desperation, and more ability.
Free kick. Free kick to Clark for the push. And he kicks towards centre half forward. Big flyer is Danaher behind the pack. Pushed everybody but couldn't mark. And Ironmonger. Oh, he's a bit small, John. He's a bit little. He's a pest, but he's a bit little. Big John kicks the ball towards the wing. It's all Essendon again. Shane Hurd looks for a teammate in the centre of the ground, but it's all Swans. 2 fists at the ball by Holden. How high tackle is allowed to go unpenalised. Danaher in turn. Inside handball to Walsh. Walsh to Izzard. Kick off the ground by Walsh. Butters up again. What's the centre half back doing there? Using his knee. That's the way they follow it up. And he runs back with a very contented smile on his countenance.
And there's a throw in with Hinwood getting up. The Swans. Holden. Siren time. Big win in more ways than one for the Bombers. They beat the top side, the Swans, at Windy Hill. Essendon 17-11, 113 to the Swans, 9-12-66.
And in the last quarter, John?
Yes, the Bombers against the slight breeze kicked 7 goals, 3 to come home and win very convincingly against the Swans, who can only score 3 goals, 2 in the last quarter.
Jeff Leake has the goal kickers.
Well, the Dons had several multi-goal kickers. We're reading down the list as Terry Danaher with 4, Stephen Clark with 4, Paul Van der Haar 3, Alan Izzard 3, Glenn Hawker got 2, and Roger Merritt with 1.
I've got Merritt with 2.
Sorry, Merritt with 2. 1.
We'll check on that.
Yeah,
we'll check on that.
And for the Swans, Warwick Kappa got 3. 2 to Craig Potter, and singles to Bolton, Stephen Wright, Mark Bays and Terry Thripp.
Merritt kicked 1. I apologise, you were right, as you always are.
Not great.
And the final score was Essendon 17-11, 113. Most convincing winners over the Sydney Swans. Their first loss of the season, 9 goals, 12, 66.
Tonight,
I suppose I'm rushing you a bit, aren't I?
Well, I've been going out with Scott for a long time now. I need to get my act together before I can go out with anyone else.
Charlene is torn between 2 boys.
He's had a rotten time.
I've had a pretty rough time too, you know. Watching you go out with him. How come you don't feel sorry for me?
You were the school drunk. Mrs. Mitchell was supposed to hate the idea of Charlene going out with you. How were we to know you'd get your act together?
Winner of 4 Logie Awards, Neighbours, 7 o'clock tonight on 10.
J&B Records proudly present for your enjoyment Classical Gold, a fabulous limited edition of 4 albums featuring the world's most famous light classics. Music from Ravel, Strauss, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven, and many more, featuring the world's most popular classics played by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. 4 albums of timeless classics that will entrance you and your family. This is a beautifully packaged set and extraordinary value. Classical Gold.
There comes a time when lost for a reason, I need a guiding hand. To every man there comes a season and a time for understanding. There is a man who takes me as I am. Yes, he takes me as I am. In a time of doubt and grieving, I look inside my soul. There comes a peace, a calm, a feeling that will last, I know, my whole life through. Yes, it's true, there is a man. Jesus takes me as I am. Jesus takes me, yes, he takes me as I am.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the quarter-by-quarter scores in today's match between the Bombers and the Sydney Swans. And Essendon were 13 points in front at the end of the first break. At half-time, still anybody's game. 10 points the margin and in favour of the Swans. At three-quarter time, it was a 22-point margin in favour of Essendon, and that finished up being 47 points in their favour as they took the 4 points from the game. The Swans 9-12-66 to Essendon 17-11, 113. Capper and Potter the only multiple goal kickers for the Swans, while for Essendon, Clark kicked 4, Danaher 3, Van der Haar 3, Hawker 2 and Ezard 3. Well, Barry, a very interesting first half because it was physical. It was showing signs of being a great game of football, although it didn't finish up that way.
No, it was like a chess game in the first half. Again, everybody sorting each other out and trying to obtain an advantage, but at half-time it was still anybody's game, and it was a disappointing second half from the Swans.
Stephen Clark starting very well for them in the early part.
Yes, good, quick little rover, Stephen Clark, and does those odd mercurial thing around goals, which lifts Essendon. And there we saw Williams just trying to say hello to Baker. I think he missed.
Well, fortunately for Baker, he did, but after that, certainly Williams has had a dirty day.
Williams hasn't had a good day, but I think you've got to look at the job that Hurd did on Williams as well. He took him right out of the game, wore him like a glove, and didn't allow him to gain possession or control that ball all day long.
Craig Potter kicking one of his goals there. Pretty good game from Craig.
Oh, he was one of the Swans' better players. I thought he kicked well. He's certainly a strong lad, knocked a few over there as well. So certainly a plus for the Swans if there was anything today, was Craig Potter.
Warwick Capper's performance?
Well, again, it depends on how the ball comes down to Kappa. Again, it was Winton did a fine job, certainly beat Kappa, but the ball wasn't coming down anyway that a full forward would like today.
As you mentioned earlier, Barry, the forward line having a few problems today. Mark Bayes not having one of his better days.
No, I think their whole forward line today was down, and I think it highlighted one of their problems that I think that they're going to have, certainly when they play in Melbourne, is the fact that they haven't got an established centre-half forward. Henwood looks as though at times he could do the job, but certainly doesn't do it often enough, and they're certainly going to have to solve that problem.
And Danaher, of course, we saw kick a goal there. He was to really come into the game in the second half with a great performance, but here's a top goal by Bolton.
Well, again, he did a couple of good things, Bolton, but certainly not enough. It's very similar to the rest of his players.
All right, we'll have a look at some statistics from the game and see just how it stood, but it was no statistics. OK, we won't have a look at some statistics from the game. We might check them out a little later. We'll take a break first and be back with you very soon.
In 1936, Jesse Owens shocked Hitler and the world when he won 4 gold medals at the 11th Olympiad.
The sports writers maintain that I drove Hitler out of his own stadium.
An all-star cast in a true story of love and determination.
You don't think it hurts to put out the best you can and get called an ape?
A hero who defied the odds. The Jesse Owens story premieres over 2 big nights. 8:30 tonight on 10.
Take a close look at Arco Steel, crafted from the highest quality stainless steel, beautifully balanced in over 10 superb designs, in distinctive styles, from the classic to the modern, cleverly designed to be supremely functional. Arco Steel sets every table with style and is guaranteed for a full 10 years. Arco Steel, even the price will pass the closest inspection.
At Visad, the production place, not only do we write and produce successful TV commercials for successful businesses like these, all at very competitive prices too. At Visad, the production place, we also write and produce corporate videos. A tape that shows your clients, your shareholders, your suppliers, who you are and what you do. A professional, business-like tape, also at a very competitive price. Phone us about your commercial or corporate video, and let's help to make you a multi-millionaire.
The Easter message is a message of hope. The resurrection of Jesus is more than an historical fact. It is a reality today. Jesus lives and is active in us, and in our world, in everything we do and experience. With the first Christians, we can say, "Come, Lord Jesus, give us hope in our lives. Come, Lord Jesus, give us peace in our lives and in our world."
Tuesday, it's 10 for comedy.
I need a little of your blood.
I'm sorry, I'm using it all at the moment.
At 7:30, it's Amen.
Trusting the deacon to return a check?
I wouldn't trust him to return a phone call.
In You Again, Henry's got good news.
I do have a mind, you know.
Why don't you bring it to work tomorrow?
And bad news.
Lady, I quit.
There's an hour of comedy. Amen and You Again from 7:30 Tuesday on 10.
Welcome back to the VFL Sports Centre. We continue our wrap of today's match by taking a look now at the second half highlights of the game. And this is where it all went wrong for the Swans. Nothing happened for them after half-time. And in fact, they didn't add a goal in the third term, Barry, and that was pretty telling.
No, that certainly was their downfall. Their lack of big man strength started to show as well. Salmon started to get into the game a little bit. Danaher started to take marks, as did Merritt and Vanderhaar. So it just also shows the problem that the Swans have, certainly with some of their big men.
Yes, particularly in the opening part of the third term. Danaher seemed to be on fire. He was doing everything right. He got a couple of quick goals there after some good marks, and that seemed to be a little bit destructive for the Swans. They seemed to lose concentration.
Set them off on the wrong track, and Danaher there taking one of his strong marks. He certainly is a fine leader, Danaher, and really sets them going.
Stephen Clark trying to get himself a goal there. Salmon, that was about his first mark for the day.
Yep.
not a great performance when you're 6'10", the biggest bloke in VFL football. You're halfway through the third quarter before you take a mark.
Again, you've got to give credit to Ironmonger. He sort of stuck with him pretty well, and they did have that second bloke going over the top all the time to punch the ball away from Salmon. He's such a tall person with long arms that you really have to do something like that to cut his effectiveness.
Well,
he certainly needs to take more marks around the ground.
I'm interested to hear you mention Ironmonger there. I thought he got a fair sort of a sticking off our commentators this afternoon, and undeservedly.
Well, I thought he battled his heart out all day against pretty strong odds. When you've got Salmon and Merritt coming at you, and then Vanderhaar, if those two get a little bit tired, you're certainly going to get worn down eventually.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do, isn't it?
Essendon small men certainly came into the game after half-time and certainly cut the Swans' defence to shreds, and Williams, Clark, Ezard, Baker had an absolute picnic.
We saw Potter put an end to Vanderhaar at the end of the third term.
Slightly after the bell.
Yes. I think it was only because it was the third term that Vander had to lay down for a while, actually.
Now we see another Academy Award performance from Warwick. I don't think that was a free kick, but he certainly made the most of it.
Not nearly as bad as it looked, that's for sure. Clark getting himself back into the play in the final term of the game too.
Yeah. This was a very poor piece of defence from the Swans, and 2 or 3 loose tackles, just an easy goal. Should never have been one.
Well, I think we all decided in the VFL Sports Centre at that stage of the day that it was put away your glasses as far as the Swans were concerned when your defence gets that bad.
That's right. And they're right, kicking one of the few goals they kicked in the last quarter.
Yes, they wrapped on a couple of quick ones in the last term there, one through Wright and one through Murphy, but
they got to 15 points and they could have gone on with it, but they just didn't have enough good players to capitalise on that little break. Again, Hawker had a top last half as well, and again he cut the Swans' back line to shreds too.
Similarly, Alan Ezard, who again was a very quiet player. He kicked the first goal for Essendon for the day, but after that we didn't see a great deal of him.
Can't let him out of your sights, really. But I suppose a lot of good sides have fallen to Essendon at Windy Hill over the years, so I wouldn't be too disappointed as long as the Swans can have a look at this and learn from it.
Yeah.
There'll be better sides than Swans that will get beaten at Windy Hill as well.
The umpiring rattling a little too?
Oh, that's hard to follow sometimes. I find it difficult myself. It must be terribly frustrating for both sides, I think.
All right, there's the stats, and no doubt they pretty much tell the story of the day.
Well, they certainly do. The kicks, especially, they had far more use of the ball. Frees, handballs again, just 4 more, but Essendon certainly had control of that football for most of the day.
The first occasion for the season that handballs of the Swans have been outnumbered.
Well, they just didn't get first to the ball and didn't have their good running players. No. Williams didn't get much use of the ball at all.
All right, let's recap the final score for you, and there it is, a 47-point margin in favour of Essendon at the end of the day, 17-11, 113 to the Sydney Swans, 9-12, 66. A fairly low score for the Swans. We might check for you also now the scores from the other grounds, and this makes it the interesting round of football, doesn't it? Collingwood, 16-14, 110, defeating Richmond, 15-10, 100. Would you believe that? And Footscray, 14-12, 96, knock off Hawthorn, who were equal leaders in the table with the Sydney Swans before today, 7-13, 55. What can you make of it, Barry? Easter Blues.
Well, hard to believe, but I think with all the problems that Footscray have had during the week and the talk of amalgamation, it's amazing what it does psychologically to a group of players, and obviously that they were pretty well fired up to beat Hawthorn today, and especially at the Western Oval. They can be hard to beat, and they had a lot to prove today, and obviously Hawthorn mentally a little bit stale after being up for a couple of weeks, so it doesn't take much today for an opposition to get a break, and Footscray made the most of it.
Well, OK, Richmond have knocked off the Bombers last week. Collingwood have knocked them off today for their first win for the season.
Well, it argues well for a fine season, and it's just hard to imagine how Richmond could get knocked off by Collingwood with all the problems that they've had with injuries, poor form, and it's a funny game, football.
It certainly is, and thank heaven we can still get a laugh out of it on an Easter Monday. Let's take a look at the games that are scheduled to be played next weekend. A pretty interesting round in round 5. On Friday night, of course, we'll look forward to having a company. North Melbourne and St Kilda at the MCG. Barry, you don't hold out great hopes for St Kilda under lights.
North Melbourne played well against Geelong on the weekend, so I can't see them see St Kilda beating North Melbourne, especially at the MCG.
Well, Saturday's Anzac Day, and it'll no doubt be a great day to be camped down in front of the television set. Carlton and Essendon at VFL Park should be a good game. Hawthorn and the West Coast Eagles promises to be a top battle. The West Coast Eagles need to save a little face. Collingwood and Footscray, that now promises to be an extremely interesting match. Geelong and Fitzroy could be a good one. And Richmond and Sydney too also promises to be a pretty good game. Some great games lined up. That's next Saturday, the 25th of April. And then, of course, Sunday, we'll look forward to having your company once again when we travel to Brisbane and see Brisbane in battle against Melbourne in what too should be a pretty good game. Melbourne coming off a win, Brisbane desperately close to a win against Fitzroy yesterday, and probably in front of a large crowd will want to save that one. So that too promises to be a pretty good game, Barry.
Well, again, it's Melbourne and Brisbane equal with the same number of wins, so one side can get a breaking in and move up the ladder, the other one falls back further into the ruck. So I think it's going to be a fine game as well.
All right, well, we'll certainly look forward to having your company then. It promises to be great. Barry Breen been with us throughout the weekend, and we thank you for being with us too. From the VFL Sports Centre now, we wish you all a very good afternoon.
Hi there, next in the Goodings collection, everything you ever wanted to know about spiders, but were afraid to ask.
In open countryside, every leaf, twig or blade of grass could conceal a waiting pair of fangs. It feeds on fallen insects as a rule, but it can catch fish. Spiders which have sticky webs produce oil to cover their feet.
A real-life spine chiller, webs and other wonders. In the Goodings collection, Thursday night at 7:30 on Channel 10.
Now pay attention, Smythe. Write down these notes.
You've got the spirit and Adelaide's looking great. Come on, let's hear it. You're proud of the festival stage. The team that's hometown, there's no town like our town. You're at the heart of it. 10 is a part of it. Stand up and tell them Adelaide's great.
Would viewers please note, due to our special Easter Monday live VFL coverage, Fraggle Rock, normally seen at 4 o'clock today, will now be screened next Saturday afternoon at 4:30.
The following program is Classified C.
If you believe anything can happen, if you believe anything is possible, then you belong with me. So let your mind run free. If you believe we're all a little crazy, if you believe in giving everything your best thing, you belong with me. So let your mind run free. Welcome to a wonder world. Welcome to a wonder world.
Hello and welcome to my Wonder World. In all the different collector stories that Wonder World has filmed over the years, each collector has a different story to tell about how they started their collection. And today's first story comes from Canberra, and it's all about a man who was a public servant, but he decided that he wanted something a little more exciting out of life. So he became a fireman. And when he began his new career, he bought a little fire engine and sat it on his mantelpiece. There it sat for years, until one day he bought another, and then another, and another, and today he has a collection of over 800 miniature fire engines. Reporter Carol and me got all fired up over this story.
The fire is burning, you feel it down below.
Ever dreamed of becoming a fireman and owning your own fire engine? Well, why dream?
Jeff Franklin doesn't own one engine, he owns 799 more, to be precise. It's made up of land engines, fireboats and aircraft. But they all serve the one purpose. Jeff joined the fire brigade 10 years ago and became intent not only on fighting fires, but with collecting toy fire engines, and his hobby now fills a whole room. The collection shows the progression of firefighting vehicles from the hand-drawn ones used in the 17th century to the horse-drawn, steam-driven ones used in the 19th century to the motorised ones used today. The vehicles have changed, but the fire hasn't. Oh! There's large engines to fight big fires, small engines to fight little fires, and there's Jeff, who fights all fires.
And there'll be no stopping, 'cause I'm your fireman. Honey, there's no stopping. You better grab some while you can. And there'll be no stopping, 'cause I'm your fireman.
Jeff became obsessed when he bought his first engine for $10. His entire collection is now worth around $8,000. The oldest engine in the collection was made in 1940, and it alone is worth around $100. When you work with the real things, why collect imitations?
I think it's quite a unique and interesting hobby, and there's not all that many people that collect the fire engines, and I just enjoy doing it.
But how many can you collect? I mean, I thought there was only one standard model.
Oh, no, you got your specialised appliances, you got your snorkels, your turntable ladders, airport fire engines, fire chiefs' cars. The list goes on and on and on.
I suppose there is only one difference, though, between these and the real thing.
What would that be?
Well, these ones don't squirt water. Thanks a lot. I wasn't even on fire. There's only one thing about Jeff's hobby, and that is it seems to be taking off like a house on fire.
Off to a fire. Now it's time to dip into the empty head and see what kind of surprise the empty head has for us. And today it's going to be a secret sound. Just listen to this. What on earth is coming out of the empty head? Listen just again. It's a hard one, but here's a clue. That sound, it's best to stand out of the way when it happens or you get wet. I'll let you have the answer later in the show. And stay tuned, please, and I'll be back right after this short commercial break with more.
Hi, this is Young Talent. Are you watching it? Are you enjoying it? Isn't Johnny Young the best looking fella on television?
Presented by McDonald's, Saturday night at 6:30.
This is just about everybody's favourite band at the moment, the Bangles. Over the past year or so, they've been absolutely creaming it all around the world, with no less than 4 hit singles off their highly acclaimed album called Different Light. Here's a taste. The Bangles, fast becoming the hot new band of the 80s. You'll know why when you check them out on Different Light, available on Liberation record and cassette.
Little Athletics is family recreation which boys and girls of any ability can participate in. Age groups range from 5 to 15 years and activities include running, hurdling, jumping, throwing and race walking. So why don't you make athletics your summer sport? With over 40 metropolitan and country centres, there's one near you. Want more information? Contact Pam Sard at the Little Athletics Association office on 332 7406.
The secret weapon!
The thrills, the laughter, the music. Steven Spielberg presents a Don Bluth film.
Stick with me, okay?
An American Tale, rated G.
See An American Tale, now screening at Hindley Cinemas, also Glenelg and Chelsea Cinemas, and special 6:15 session at Mainline Drive-In, Jeps Cross.